Hello, hello, hello. I'm super happy to be here with two amazing people in front of me on my screen here. These are the challenge queens, and I have the opportunity to interview them today. And they have something very special to share with us. Hello, Noel. Hello, Charlene. Welcome to my
Hello.
video. Welcome to my screen. I'm very excited to be here. And please introduce yourselves. What do you guys do? And why is it important for my viewers, life coaches, health coaches, to understand what you do? Welcome.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. It's always a pleasure just to spend time with you, Jack. We know Jack from a high level mastermind that we're all in together. And so we have invested in our own businesses and met Jack in that way. And here he is pouring into all of you guys. So amazing to watch that unfold and see him doing that. So thanks so much for having us. Charlene and
Thank
I
you.
actually, this is called the Challenge Q Event Agency. And what we do is we provide teams for people on their virtual live events. I'm sure you guys have come across in some way, shape, or form on the interweb, somebody running a challenge, someone running a summit, or maybe you've attended one. So Charlene and I kind of fell into helping entrepreneurs and speakers, coaches, consultants, authors, thought leaders as their teams in those events. And we show up just and navigate all of the nuances that are part of an event so that the speaker and the coach can show up and just present really powerfully and strongly and not get distracted while they're delivering their message.
That's right.
That's
So
nice.
that'll lead to higher conversions on the back end for these events. It's a really good way for people to have an experience of who you are in what you do so that they can decide if they like you. Are they going to mesh with you? Are your visions aligned? Do you see yourself growing with this person? And then from the challenge event or summit, whatever live event you're hosting, you offer an invitation for them to continue to grow with you. So we really speak into what does that whole vision look like from the beginning to the end, and then we lock arms in the process and partner with you to make sure that you're successful.
Oh,
From the
okay.
beginning to the end, we will always be your friend. There you
Yeah,
go.
okay. I love that. I love
That's
that.
funny.
That speaks to me. I like it. So the first question is because what I teach my viewers, my students, my clients, they have to understand the first step here to understand themselves, the foundations of their brand, then understand who they're serving, and then connect with their ideal clients, which is the
Yes.
step in the middle, which is the connection. So I'm always telling them, show up, be visible, tell your stories, connect with your clients, help
Mm-hmm.
them. And this is where a challenge comes in. And I
Yeah.
wanted to understand, what is a challenge exactly? Because we know that people go live all the time and they talk with their clients and they try to add some value, to give them some free content, great content, great content. That's something we've been hearing all the time lately.
Mm-hmm.
Create content, provide value. Those are the words repeating themselves all the time. What is a challenge?
I'm going to speak into this one, if you don't mind, Noel. Noel will have some thoughts too. We tend to do this back and forth. So a challenge is where it's much simpler than you think that it is. It's everybody's accomplished something in their life. There's an area of your life that moves you, that lights you up. There's a reason why you're pursuing coaching. You want to help people. You're probably really good at naturally doing this. And here's the thing, all you're doing essentially is looking at where you are now and what got you to where you are now. Where did you
Mm,
trip? And what have you learned in that? And all you're doing is turning, reaching a hand back and pulling someone forward with your knowledge and experience. That's what people are paying for. It's much simpler. So what you're doing during a challenge is you're outlining, 3 to 5 steps that those people would logically have to take to get the next step forward in their life. And then the
that's a
program on the
group.
back end, yeah.
It's a group thing, right? Just to make
Yeah,
okay, to make
yes.
it
And
clear.
it's a
Okay.
group thing. You're inviting people into a group community experience where they can have this transformation together. The value comes from the conversation. The value comes from you offering a logical step per day that helps people get into momentum, that builds upon itself. And as a community, you're leaning into this process together and supporting each other through it. And it's super, the conversations that kind of come out of that are amazing because people have to be vulnerable. And when you build a community like that, people want to continue to grow together, and that will roll into a group coaching program oftentimes. Noelle can really speak more to this community piece as well. So I'm going to pass it over to her.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely, but just kind of logistically, what a challenge looks like is it's sort of like a 3 to 7 day event where you would go live for an hour or so a day. We don't really typically recommend going live for more than an hour. And you're going live on Zoom with a community that is seeking some sort of help that you're offering.
Yeah.
So if you're coaching people how to write a book, for instance, then those would be people that have not yet written their first book, but are looking for some guidance and some mentorship in that.
Yeah.
So you would be spending, we recommend, we're really big fans of 5-day challenges. So you'd be spending, let's say 5 days for 1 hour a day with those people who are looking to write a book. And you'd be sharing what you know with them. And so just like Charlene said, you only really need to be 2 steps ahead of them. We always say, like, go with that. Go with just being 2 steps ahead of them, because you're that much further ahead of them. And there are people that are further ahead of you, but don't let that stop you, right?
Yeah.
You just have to be 2 steps ahead of someone to be able to help them along. So, you might just be like writing their table of contents or something like that. And take this book example into whatever you're doing, right? I'm just using that as an example. But you'd be spending time with them. And what happens over those 5 days is you are increasing a like, know, and trust with that audience. And so what you're doing is you're showing them, you're demonstrating what you know, that you are 2 steps ahead of them, how you overcame the obstacles you had to overcome, and why you want them to avoid those obstacles, because you've already learned those lessons along the way.
Yeah.
And then you're also showing them, so you're demonstrating that you kind of know what you're talking about. You're also demonstrating your personality. Are they would they like to travel a further distance with you? Would they like to take a deeper dive with you?
Yeah.
And not everybody's going to be the right fit, but it's a great place in 5 short days to figure out if you are a right fit for them and if they're a right fit for you. And then for like around day 4, you're going to offer them an invitation to go on a deeper dive with you. And that could look like, you could be selling a product. Like, I don't know, some of you might be selling products. Some of you might be selling group coaching programs, one-on-one coaching programs, whatever it is that you are out there to help people with. That's what you're offering kind of near the end of your challenge. And then you would wrap it up on day 5 with, answering questions and giving some testimonials of people that have already worked with you. And so it's really just providing like a summary or a synopsis of what you do in a week to attract an audience to you. It works great for lead generation. And then a smaller portion of the people that show up will then travel onto this deeper dive with you into whatever you have to offer them.
Okay, that's great. I now I got it. In the basic concept of a challenge. I know what a challenge is, but not yours, which is a different challenge. It's a special one. Now my question is, when you said go live and like an hour a day for 5 days, you like the 5-day format for this challenge. When you say go live, is that do you go live on Facebook? Do you go live on like in the group? Is that what you do? Do you do recorded videos? Is that a possibility? What if I'm struggling to start a challenge? What are the first step that you would encourage my client or your clients to do to start?
So the short answer to your question is yes, yes, yes. Like you can do pre-recorded and drip it into their email. You can do, pre-recorded and drop it into a Facebook group. You will have an audience there, but where you're really going to build community and really increase that trust is if you're showing up at the table with people and like having dinner with them, like having a conversation like this. This is where you get to see my true self, my true being, my mannerisms, my quirkiness, like whatever, that I talk with my hands. But when you pre-record, you tend to like polish yourself a little bit more and like sit there looking right at the camera, and you can retake it 10 times. And really that decreases your authenticity, and it also decreases the relationship. And what people really want is to know that they have a leader that's like really invested in them. And where people are really going to understand that is if you spend time with them. And so we specialize in running Zoom to Facebook. So we offer people to come in on Zoom during our challenges, and the challenges that we run for hosts or challenge leaders. But then we stream it into a Facebook group, because oftentimes people are on the go or they want to be catching the replay. And so we offer that streaming into the Facebook group, because then it can just sit there in your Facebook group as a replay. People can watch it and comment on it. And then you're catching their comments, and you can have the interaction still in that Facebook group, but it's still private enough that they can really open up and not be afraid to share what they're going through.
Okay, I asked that because that's actually one of the objections I get a lot. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know. I'm not used to going live all the time. When I go live, it's a struggle. It's a challenge. But that's one of the objections I get a lot. And would that be a possibility? Another objection is, what if I don't have a Facebook group yet? What if I don't have people in my group yet? How do I get started? Do you have a recommendation for people who are getting started in the very beginning?
Yeah, I actually just want to speak to the last point that you mentioned too, that'll segue into this is some people are under the belief that and I was one of them at first, because I wrote a children's book. And so I came into learning the challenge model as a way to move my life coaching business online and expand it as a lead gen opportunity. So I had to learn this stuff too. And that's how Noelle and I met, was in this movement-based marketing event where we learned this model. So what a lot of people like myself started doing initially, this is a way that you do record live. You're recording. It's more than just the experience of dropping value and interacting with people. You're giving an experience, but you're doing multiple things at the same time. You're also recording your course. That's why the team aspect was so important that we fell into, because you don't want to be distracted looking everywhere. You're not going to be able to repurpose this. The challenge alone at the end is a standalone course that could create passive income for you afterwards. It's something that you could dice up throughout the year for sound bites, or for a podcast that you can use for content marketing throughout the year. There are things that you say and do when you're training live. And many of you, like me, may get into a flow state and you drop some stuff that you didn't actually plan into your content, but it made a measurable difference live that may be other content later. There's lots of things happening at the same time. So that's why it's also really, really important. But some people get into this frame where they'll stop themselves because they want to pre-record it and then seed it in. But how do you know? How do you know that that's what people actually need from you? You don't really know until they've spoken into it. So when you toss your idea out there, you're doing market research at the same time with the objective, what landed, what didn't, who showed up, why did they show up, and what do they actually need? Did I plan too much too quick? Are there actually some pre-steps involved? And what's the process that people really need right now? And oftentimes we'll see people prepare stuff that's way more than what their participants need. They'll get overwhelmed. They won't make any movement. It's way, way simpler. Just really got to dial it in. What is really that one step forward? So I just wanted to speak into that first. And then the other half of that, remind me what the other half was again. I just really wanted to
what if I don't have a Facebook group yet?
Oh, yeah. So this is how you build your Facebook group. So many of you may have coaches and mentors, or Jack may be speaking to you going, you need to build your Facebook group. And you do. You need to build your own community. And this is called magnetic attraction marketing, right? You're attracting people to you. You need to do that through the video. I know Noelle will.
Can you run the challenge in your Facebook group? But it doesn't have to be a challenge. It doesn't have to be a Facebook for the challenge. Like some of my clients, some of my students,
Yeah.
they already have their Facebook groups, but they don't
Yeah.
run challenge there. Do I have to create a new group to run a challenge, or I should run a challenge within that current Facebook group that I have?
Depends on whether, honestly, you're charging for it or not. So we have
Okay.
different clients doing different things. Sometimes they want to charge for an event, but the current existing group is already a free group. They might want to do something outside and roll into different specialty programs. However, if you've already got a bunch of people in that group, those are already people who are warmed up to you. So we recommend offer your free event there. You offer value, you offer movement to people, and they've already had some exposure to you. It's much easier for them to say yes to whatever you're offering in that moment by building it into your group. And then you're building that community. You get it big enough, people are even monetizing it and able to sell their group. So it really, it depends what your outcome is and what you want to build. Noelle, do you have some thoughts?
Let me give you another example of why you might want to separate and start a new group from your general group. And Charlene and I have done both of these. We've run challenges into our larger group, and we've also run a challenge into a separate group. But let me give you just like a really clear example of why you might want to separate. So say you're a counselor. Okay. And you ran a challenge, and you ran a number of challenges for addictions counseling. Let's just put that out there. And you built up this big group. But what you were noticing was that a side effect of addictions and overcoming addictions was depression. And you wanted to really speak into depression, but you didn't think that everybody in your larger addictions group was actually dealing with this. So what you might do is advertise your upcoming challenge on overcoming depression in the larger addictions group, but invite them over to a smaller group. And then you're also running ads or just organic marketing into speaking into overcoming depression by itself in this smaller overcoming depression group. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Yes. Got it. Got it. Perfect. Okay. So you can use the same group, but but you can create a new one if you're talking about a specific subject that would narrow down the profile of that ideal client you want to serve.
Or if you want to test something, let's say you have a new branch that you want to test. We've branched a few different times with our business unexpectedly. Who knew the seed would grow that way? But
that's the beauty of testing, and that's the beauty of the internet, because you can test stuff, and it's gone the next day.
You can test it in a new group. Maybe it's not going to hit. Maybe you have a new idea and you're like, I'm not sure if my wider group would go for this or not, but I do need to test this market. Let's drive some traffic this way. I'll introduce it to my group as well. Then you can see if you can always reshare the content or offer the recordings afterwards. Remember, whatever you film live, you can repurpose. This is your marketing. How can you bundle this onto other offers? How can you use this? Oh, that's the other thing. So a challenge will help you. Let's say you want to have some guests on. Now those can be bonuses on the back end. What can they bring from their practice that complements what you're doing? And as a collaborative, now you've got your offer. Let's say it's a group coaching program, but now all your speakers have offered something of value that makes this an irresistible offer. And by accepting the offer at the end, they're going to get all of this support, which are all the tools and resources, anything that you can think of that will make a person successful by the end of that measurable time. Because you want to know that they're going to do it. They can tick that box, and you can either wash, rinse, repeat the same one, or roll into the next step, whatever makes the most sense for what you're teaching.
And here's the other thing, you guys, let's be real here for a second. Some of you don't even know what you want to offer people. You want to help people, you know what your area of expertise is, but you're kind of playing around with a couple of different things, and you're not even really sure what you might have 5 different things you're thinking of offering, but you're not really sure. You can even use a challenge to test that out, right? Like you would figure out your market research in 5 short days or 5 short hours, an hour a day. And if it doesn't hit, well, you're not a failure. You've just figured out that's not the offer that's going to work for your audience.
Yes.
And so, Charlene, if I can expose you here for a minute, at the beginning of this, a whole 16 months ago, Charlene was still doing some life coaching before Challenge Queens took over her life. And she was she was like, I just see all these entrepreneurs, they're sitting at their desks all the time, stuff like that. And so she used the challenge model for a walking group. She was like, let's do it. Let's do a walk. Let's all walk together. Let's make sure we're getting our steps in. Literally, we were just counting our steps. I was a participant.
Yeah, nice.
And it was just that. But what she did, she was getting more comfortable with the challenge model as that all played out. She was tweaking things. She was figuring it out. I was doing funnels for her, figuring out the funnel end. So we really used challenges even to build this business of helping people with their challenges. So they're really versatile.
And we use challenges. Actually, that's a really good example, because my first one was based off my book, but the second and third one were the walking challenge. And the walking challenge, that's where we fell into strategic partnerships, just because I wanted to motivate and inspire people while they're walking, something to listen to when they walk. And so I would have these interviews that they could listen to whenever they got their steps in. We had fun with it. We had people taking pictures of where they were, and it was super connecting and it was cozy, and we were helping each other. And when you have those bad days, you had the inspiration in the group. So it was really fun. But what happens is when you have speakers that come into your group, now you're leveraging their audience. So like Noelle might have a couple thousand people on her page. I have around 4,000 on mine. You might have however many on yours. Now, look how much we've doubled that, because you have somebody coming on and now they're going to be speaking on your event. It's more word of mouth for you as well. But make sure it's somebody who complements what you're doing, right?
That's amazing. I love that. One last questions and then we can wrap up. What is the number one objection you get from your clients when you're teaching them how to create a challenge, when you're encouraging them? Oh, you should create a challenge because you're going to provide some more value. People see more value when they feel challenged. So this is it. What do they say when they come up with like a strong objection, if there's any?
For our clients that are hiring us as a team, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Oh, you're about to fire me and Charlene up here. So, So I would say our major objection is probably investment in themselves and their
business. I was going to say the same thing. So that's perfect.
So I'm gonna lay this out flat here. We have learned so much in the last 16 months together. Charlene and I actually have never even met in person. Imagine that. But she's like my sister now. She's my work wifey. We own a business together. We live at exact opposite ends of Canada. I'm on one coast, she's on the other. It'll happen someday and we'll film it. We'll show you guys. But we have invested together in this business, and we have seen in a short 16 months how much that has just spearheaded this business. And it's because you need a mentor, you need a team. You can't do it all yourself. You can't wear all the hats. Even if you're like perfect at doing all of the hats, wearing all of the hats and doing all of the things, you can create your own funnel, you can make graphics, you're an excellent speaker, you know how to organize an event, you know all of those things, and you can do all of those things, you still shouldn't do all of them because you're the speaker. And you need to show up and you need to address your audience like they are the only people in the room. You shouldn't be hitting the mute button. You shouldn't be reading the comments. You shouldn't be dropping your links in the comments. You shouldn't be admitting people and figuring out how to get people from Facebook into Zoom and all of that stuff. You need to rest at nighttime. You need to have a glass of wine. You shouldn't be going back in there and just being on your computer all night, because then you're not going to show up strong the next day. And so honestly, we are fired up about how much people need a team to just spearhead and drive their business. And what we've created is a pop-in team. So we're with people for like 2-ish weeks surrounding their event. You know, we're like what wedding planners are to weddings, we are to virtual events. We surround your team, we surround your audience, and then we understand that entrepreneurs cannot always hire full-time teams right off the start. So we've provided an opportunity to have a pop-in team during your event, because you should not be doing it alone. Your conversions will be much lower if you're by yourself, because you're doing all the things and you're worn out and you're tired and you're going to forget things. We've had to recreate offers while people are delivering their offer on offer day, half an hour before they've gone live. Charlene has had to unmute herself during offer day when one of our leaders was dropping an offer to remind her to drop the offer.
To drop the offer.
The whole week would have been kind of like lost to see if anyone wanted to travel deeper with her, to see if anyone wanted to go into her group coaching, because she almost forgot to say it, because by day 4 she was just so consumed with being there by the people, with the people and everything, that she forgot, she got wrapped up in it, right?
Yeah,
so you
there's
really
a bunch
need
of different
a fresh
layers on top
Yeah.
of each other. Yeah.
Oh, and the psychological one, when you go to drop your offer, many of you will have already experienced this. You've probably had many times where you're like, who am I? I don't know what I'm doing. This person's doing this. You're comparing the oak with the bamboo. You're
I
like,
shouldn't charge for this. I love doing that.
yeah, yeah. But there's a reason why you got to where you are with your unique experience, the unique steps that you took to get there, your process, your lens through which you meet the world and how you can help people is unique. So it doesn't matter if Tony Robbins is doing the exact same thing as you. The way you do something, the way you reach people, the impact that you are able to create, the help that you are able to offer is uniquely yours. But on offer day, you will meet yourself, and everything that's bothered you is going to show up. And there you are filming. That's when leaning on a team, because we do our pre-sessions and stuff, that's where leaning on a team and having people there to go, solid offer, you've got this, these people are interested, and reminding you of what's going well, reminding you, feeding back the information that's been noticed as an impartial third party is so valuable, and making sure that you're supported. All you have to do is show up and talk and be present with people. That's it.
And that's the beauty of going live. Like, you drop something there, and then you participate, and this has been so much fun. You guys are
I'll
awesome.
just leave you with that. Like, invest in yourself so you can invest in other people. Because your group will grow.
1 minute to tell us where we can find you. Go.
You can find us at www.cqeventagency.com, cqeventagency.com. We'll also send you back. We'll also send you this 30 ways and 30 days free gift for anybody who sees this video in your group to support them. They're prompts that you can use every day over 30 days to go live and connect with your audience. We want to gift that to you so you can get out of your way. You don't have to think about it. Just look at what you need to do and show up.
We have a link.
I'll send it to you. Yeah.
The link will be here somewhere, like maybe here or here or here or here. And then you can find the link. You can click, like this.
So we hope that supports you. Tag us in the video. We want to cheer you on.
Thank you
so much. And if you guys want to ever reach out and see if live events are something that you want to do, we are so open to talking with you, and we would love to help you kind of focus in and see what it is that will support you with where you want to go.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It was amazing. I loved you guys, and it's always a pleasure to be here talking, learning some more. I thought I would know what you had to share, but I didn't. So I learned.
There's always more. And shout out to you, Jack, your birthday today. Jack. We are so glad you are here on this earth, and that you've spent so many years pouring into yourself. So now that you can effectively pour into other people, we're really excited to see where this next year brings you. So happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.